It's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards.
At 61, Melinda Gates finally revealed what Bill did that made divorce inevitable. Melinda Gates had one rule, one line in the sand she told her husband never to cross. And for years, she believed he respected it. She believed the man she married, the man she shared 3 children with, the man she built one of the largest charitable organizations on earth with, had listened to her. Then in October 2019, she opened the New York Times, and every illusion she had left about Bill Gates shattered in a single paragraph. Within days, she picked up the phone and called a divorce lawyer. Then she called another one. Then she assembled an entire legal team, because Melinda knew something the rest of the world was only beginning to figure out.
That Bill contracted an STD from Russian girls and asked for Epstein's help, providing him with antibiotics he could give Melinda without her knowing.
I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage.
The man the public saw on stage pledging billions to save lives was not the same man who came home at night. But the Epstein meetings were only the beginning. What she discovered after that phone call, the affairs, the letters, the draft emails sitting in a dead man's inbox, would turn one of America's most admired marriages into the most expensive divorce in history. To understand why this divorce hit so hard, you have to understand how perfect this couple looked from the outside. It was 1987. Bill Gates was already one of the most powerful men in technology. Microsoft was exploding, and at a sales meeting in New York City, he noticed a new product manager named Melinda French. She was 23, he was 31. A few weeks later, he ran into her in the Microsoft parking lot and asked her out on a date. But here is the thing. He asked her out 2 weeks in advance, scheduled the date like a business meeting, and Melinda, to her credit, said no. She told him if he wanted to go out, he could be more spontaneous than that. So Bill called her that same evening and said, "Is tonight spontaneous enough for you?" They dated for 6 years. In 1993, he proposed, and on January 1st, 1994, they got married on the Hawaiian island of Lanai. Bill had rented the entire 250-room hotel. He booked every single helicopter on the neighboring island of Maui, so photographers could not fly over the ceremony. Warren Buffett was one of 130 guests. It was the kind of wedding that makes you believe in fairy tales. Over the next 8 years, they had 3 kids: Jennifer in 1996, Rory in 1999, Phoebe in 2002. And together they built the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation into one of the most influential philanthropic organizations on the planet, giving away tens of billions of dollars to fight disease, poverty, and inequality around the world. From the outside, they were the nerdy power couple saving the world. Bill was the awkward genius. Melinda was the steady hand behind the scenes. They were on magazine covers, giving TED Talks, sitting down with presidents and prime ministers. But behind the gates of their 66,000-square-foot mansion in Medina, Washington, a house with 24 bathrooms, a 60-foot pool with underwater speakers, and a domed library that looked like something out of a movie, something was rotting, and Melinda had no idea how deep it went. What happened next would take years to fully unravel, and it started with a single dinner invitation in Manhattan. In 2013, Bill and Melinda Gates walked into Jeffrey Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan for dinner. Now, by this point, Epstein had already been convicted. In 2008, he had pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor. He had served 13 months. He was a registered offender. This was not a secret. Everyone in that world knew who Jeffrey Epstein was and what he had done. Melinda has said she knew something was deeply wrong the second she walked through the front door. In her first major interview after the divorce, she told Gayle King on CBS Mornings that Epstein was, and these are her exact words, evil personified. She said she had nightmares about him afterwards. Not figuratively. Literal nightmares. That is how disturbing the encounter was. After that dinner, Melinda drew a hard line with Bill. She told him point blank, "Do not see that man again. Do not associate with him. Do not meet with him." She made her position crystal clear, but Bill did not listen. According to reports and documents that have since come to light, Bill Gates met with Jeffrey Epstein at least 6 more times between 2011 and 2014. Some of these meetings happened at Epstein's New York townhouse, the same place Melinda had told him never to return to. At least once, Bill stayed late into the night. The New York Times reported a detailed timeline with meetings in April and October of 2011, August 2012 in Norway, multiple meetings in February 2013, and additional contacts stretching into 2014, including Skype calls and dinners. And what was Bill doing there? Some insiders have suggested he believed Epstein had connections to wealthy donors who could fund global health initiatives. Others have said Bill was angling for a Nobel Peace Prize and thought Epstein could help make it happen. Whatever the reason, he kept going back, again and again, despite knowing what Epstein was, despite knowing what his wife had told him. For 6 years, Melinda had no idea. She thought the line she drew had held. She thought her husband respected her enough to stay away from a convicted predator. Then came October 2019, and the New York Times published an article laying out every single meeting. But the Epstein scandal was only one crack in the foundation. What surfaced next from inside Microsoft headquarters was somehow even more personal. While Melinda was still reeling from the Epstein revelations, a letter arrived at Microsoft that would shake the company to its core. It was written by a female engineer, and in that letter, she claimed she had an intimate relationship with Bill Gates around the year 2000. Think about what that timeline means for a second. Bill and Melinda got married in January 1994. Their son Rory was born in May 1999. If this letter was telling the truth, Bill was having an affair when his marriage was barely 6 years old, with a newborn son at home. For almost 20 years, this secret stayed buried. Bill kept building his empire. He stepped back from Microsoft day-to-day operations, launched the foundation, did the philanthropist victory lap. The whole time, this was sitting underneath the surface. The Microsoft board did not throw this letter in the trash. They took it seriously. They hired an outside law firm to investigate, and what they found was concerning enough that board members decided Bill Gates, the man who started the company in a garage in Albuquerque in 1975, could no longer sit on his own board of directors. In March 2020, Bill resigned from the Microsoft board. At the time, his official line was that he wanted to focus on philanthropy. Clean exit, dignified. But the Wall Street Journal later reported the truth. He left while the investigation was still ongoing. He did not wait for it to finish. A spokesperson later confirmed there had been an affair almost 20 years ago which ended amicably. That is a very interesting way to describe the CEO of the company sleeping with an engineer who worked for him. And it did not stop there. The New York Times dug deeper and found a pattern. In 2006, Bill reportedly emailed a female Microsoft employee after watching her give a work presentation. He invited her to dinner and wrote something along the lines of, "If this makes you uncomfortable, pretend it never happened." He knew he was crossing a line. He hit send anyway. Then there was another incident at the Gates Foundation itself. During a work trip, Bill allegedly hit on a woman at a cocktail party. This was not a one-time mistake. This was a pattern of behavior stretching back decades. The guy running one of the biggest companies in the world, and later one of the biggest charities in the world, using his position to pursue women who worked for him. And when Gayle King asked Melinda on national television if there was more than one affair, Melinda did not defend him. She did not say no. She paused, looked at the camera, and said 5 words that told the entire story. Those are questions Bill needs to answer. That silence, that refusal to cover for him, was the loudest thing she ever said about her marriage. By the end of 2019, Melinda Gates was living in one of the most expensive homes ever built. 66,000 square feet with 7 bedrooms, 24 bathrooms, a pool that played music underwater, and a domed library filled with rare manuscripts. Every room had smart sensors that adjusted the lighting, temperature, and even the artwork on the walls based on an electronic pin each person carried. It was a technological wonder, and Melinda was miserable inside of it. In her book, The Next Day, and in multiple interviews, Melinda has described this period of her life in detail that is genuinely hard to hear. She started having panic attacks, not the kind where you feel a little anxious, the kind where your heart is pounding so hard you think you are having a medical emergency, where you cannot catch your breath, where your body shuts down. She said the panic attacks were her body trying to tell her something, that her head and her heart were completely out of alignment. She knew intellectually that her marriage was over, but she had not accepted it emotionally yet. Then came the nightmares. The same dream over and over again. She was inside a beautiful house, and the house was collapsing around her. Sometimes the roof caved in. Sometimes the walls crumbled. Sometimes she dreamed that her family was standing on the edge of a cliff, and she was the one falling over the side. She told CBS that there were days she spent lying face down on the carpet, sobbing. A billionaire. A woman who met with world leaders, lying on the floor of her mansion, wondering how she was going to get up and face the next day. And through all of this, she was keeping it together in public. Foundation events, board meetings, Zoom calls, smiling through all of it. Because the world was not supposed to know yet. She was grieving the death of something, not a person. The dream. The life she thought she was building when she fell in love with the awkward, brilliant man in the Microsoft parking lot 3 decades earlier. But she also knew something else. Bill Gates had a reputation as one of the toughest negotiators in the world, and divorcing him was going to be a war. In February 2020, just before the pandemic shut down the entire planet, Melinda told Bill it was over. She said the words out loud. She could not do it anymore. And according to Melinda, Bill did not yell. He did not fight. He was quiet. He was sad. Maybe he knew he had pushed it too far. Maybe he already understood there was no coming back from what he had done. For over a year, they lived in that strange limbo. The same house, the same foundation, the same public appearances, pretending everything was fine while the lawyers worked behind the scenes. Nobody knew. The world would not find out until May 3, 2021. On May 3, 2021, Bill and Melinda both posted identical statements to Twitter. After 27 years of marriage, they were getting divorced, and the money started moving immediately. On that very same day, Bill's investment vehicle, Cascade Investment, transferred $2.4 billion in stocks to Melinda, Canadian National Railway shares, Coca-Cola FEMSA, AutoNation, Grupo Televisa. In a single afternoon, she received more money than the entire GDP of some countries. And that was just the opening move. Over the following weeks and months, billions more were shifted around. Then came the real estate. Bill Gates owns approximately 275,000 acres of farmland across 17 states, making him the largest private farmland owner in the United States. They had the Xanadu 2.0 mansion in Medina, now valued at around $178 million. Horse ranches in Florida and California for their daughter Jennifer, who competes as an equestrian at a professional level. Beach properties. Every single one of those assets had to be divided, but the biggest asset was not a house or a stock portfolio. It was the foundation. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is one of the largest private charitable organizations on Earth. They had poured tens of billions into it. After the divorce, they tried to stay co-chairs. They said publicly that they could work together even if the marriage was over. They gave themselves a 2-year trial period. It did not work. Working with your ex-husband every day, sitting across the table from the person who betrayed your trust, making decisions about billions of dollars together. Melinda has said it felt impossible. In June 2024, Melinda announced she was leaving the Gates Foundation for good, and her exit was not quiet. She walked away with $12.5 billion in committed funding for her own philanthropic work. She did not need to ask Bill for permission anymore. She did not need to compromise. She did not need to sit in a room with him and pretend they still shared a vision. She called it being totally free. And then Bill made the final payment. In 2024, tax filings revealed that Bill transferred nearly $8 billion to Melinda's new foundation, Pivotal Philanthropies, as part of their divorce settlement. It was one of the largest charitable contributions ever publicly recorded. The total cost of their divorce, when you add up the stock transfers, the real estate divisions, the foundation exit, and the ongoing settlements, was staggering. But for Melinda, it bought something money alone cannot buy: a new identity. Just when it seemed like the story might finally be over, the past came roaring back. On January 30th, 2026, the Department of Justice released over 3 million pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Among those documents were draft emails that Epstein had apparently written to himself back in 2013, and Bill Gates was mentioned by name. The draft emails, which were never sent and have not been independently verified, contained explosive allegations. Epstein claimed in these rambling, typo-filled notes that he had facilitated sexual encounters for Gates and helped him obtain medication to hide a sexually transmitted infection from Melinda. One draft email even referenced Gates tearfully asking Epstein to delete messages. Now, it is important to be clear about this. These were unsent drafts. Epstein was known to exaggerate and manipulate. Bill Gates has denied everything in these documents, saying in a February 2026 interview, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is false. Gates also added, "Every minute I spent with him, I regret, and I apologize that I did that." But Melinda was not letting him off the hook. In an interview with NPR's Wildcard podcast in February 2026, she said the latest documents filled her with unbelievable sadness. She said it brought back memories of some very painful times in her marriage. And then she said something that cut right through all the PR statements and the carefully crafted apologies. Whatever questions remain there, for those people and for even my ex-husband, they need to answer to those things, not me. She said she felt she had to leave her marriage and the foundation. Had to. Not chose to. Had to. And here is the thing. If you saw Melinda French Gates in April 2025 on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, you would not recognize the woman who was lying on the floor of her mansion a few years earlier. She was wearing something sharp, not a stuffy corporate outfit. She was laughing. She was talking about her new book, The Next Day, which had become a bestseller. She even mentioned she was dating again, telling Colbert, "It's been pretty great." She was not Melinda Gates anymore. She was Melinda French Gates. She had taken back her maiden name, built her own foundation, written her own book, started her own chapter. When Colbert asked her what Bill's affair had taught her about relationships, she did not flinch. She said it taught her what she actually wanted in a marriage, a relationship built on trust. And then she said simply, "In the end, I had to go." 27 years, 3 children, $130 billion, and a trail of secrets that stretched from a parking lot in Redmond, Washington, to a townhouse in Manhattan. Melinda Gates did not just survive the most public divorce in modern history. She walked through it, rebuilt herself on the other side, and came out telling the truth. The question is whether Bill Gates ever will. What do you think? Did Melinda wait too long, or did she leave at exactly the right time? Drop your take in the comments. If this story hit you, smash the subscribe button. We have another story coming that you will not want to miss.